So not only are we sitting above the 21 exponential, we're sitting above the 50, we're sitting above the 100, we're sitting above the 200. Every single thing is pointing literally to a higher high and a higher low. This is the trend. The trend is your friend until the end. There's absolutely no reason to become bearish.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap gets you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.io. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest crypto channel in all the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like money and crypto, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check down below in the video description for your chance to win one full Bitcoin. Today, I brought back on K-Dub from the Crypto Zombie YouTube channel in order to discuss whales dumping the price of Bitcoin, what this means, and how it could lead to an insane altcoin cycle. Also, guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin or Ethereum at any time with Bybit, you can do that by visiting bitboycrypto.com/deals and scroll down to the Bybit section. Also, you can get a 5% off code for Market Cypher, our indicator of choice. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the interview. Hey, guys, I am joined again this week with K-Dub from Crypto Zombie. You guys really loved his appearance last week. So want to get in with him, talk about, with the Bitcoin top. We also want to talk about this interesting story going on with the analytics from whale wallets dropping and what that could possibly mean. So, Kyle, as always, welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you on.
Thank you so much. And I do appreciate that. It was such a great success the first time. I'm back on the channel and I do appreciate it, man. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week we've seen the price of Bitcoin. We've seen the highs and the lows. As the book of Tale of Two Cities says, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. We hit 62K for Bitcoin, exactly 62K on Bybit. And then we got a gigantic price drop. I think like 11 or 12% drop, maybe even a few more percents than that. And a lot of people are worrying about, was this the bull market? Is it over? Are we going to go in like a mini bear winter here? What is kind of your opinion on what we're seeing right now for Bitcoin and the price?
Well, I think it's a combination of a few things. I think we're seeing the fact that we do have a lot of people actually are in profit right now. Obviously, we do have, don't forget, traditional aspects of the market, they do move in quarters. We have just, we're starting to come to the end, right, of Q1. So we are looking for that profit taking to happen. But I do think a lot of times that there's this sensationalism over the data and it all gets lumped into one category. For example, we had a little bit of a FUD the other day where we saw essentially CryptoQuant pointing out the fact that we had $1 billion worth of Bitcoin that was moving into the Gemini wallet. Then we had some differences as to whether or not that was part of an internal transfer. Then some people are saying it's from BlockFi. But at the end of the day, you don't really know what that's for. It's assumed that it could be for selling, but it also could be for custodial purposes. Yeah. And getting back to your initial question, why are we seeing these whale wallets actually moving lower? As in like what is a whale wallet? Over 1,000 Bitcoin or 10,000 or something?
Well, there's different classifications, different levels. The chart that we've been specifically looking at is the number of wallets with over 1,000 Bitcoin in them. And it's had the largest drop percentage-wise that I think we've ever seen for whale wallets. And what could that possibly mean?
I think what a lot of people don't really actually understand is that it's very okay, a lot of people look at it and they say, well, there's one wallet that's one individual. But I mean, if you use a ledger device, that every time you send and receive Bitcoin, they generate a new wallet address. And what a lot of people don't know about these custodial solutions is that for safety purposes, they actually recommend and do go through processes of splitting larger wallets that they're holding for their custodial clients. So it doesn't actually mean that because, for example, has anybody analyzed how many, lower wallets are, like wallets that have 500 Bitcoin? Maybe they've doubled in the time that we've had 1,000. And what I think could be happening, and I'm not an on-chain analyst, but I bet if somebody took a deeper look, you'd probably find that some of these smaller wallets are actually increasing. So what I think is happening is really, it's just redistribution. We're still seeing accumulation on the actual charts. We're not seeing lower lows. We're not seeing lower highs, okay? Even though, yes, we did have, and some people say it's a double top, but it was a higher double top, right?
It was.
We went from
it was
58
pretty
to 62.
Higher. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So until I see something that, is definitely putting in a macro lower low, there's no reason to be fudding over this. So my opinion with those wallets essentially is that it's ultimately redistribution and maybe some minor quarter one profit taking, but I don't think it's anything to consider the top being in, compared to previous cycles. So
yeah, and I tell you, that is some killer insight right there. Because I've been kind of at a loss for, redistribution, just say it at face value. It seems to make sense. But actually, I think we're going to go and do some data research here after I get off this call and find out about the numbers of the other wallets, because that could be interesting. And, here's the thing is that some of these wallets, they've got massive amounts of Bitcoin and they're really big, like custodians or whatever. But we've seen the price of Bitcoin go up so dramatically that I think something else that people have to consider is like looking at my own portfolio. If I look at my own portfolio from what it is today to what it was 6 months ago, and the massive amount of changes, like all of a sudden what I felt like was a comfortable number to be sitting in one place, now I'm not so comfortable with all of that money sitting in one place. I might want to disperse that to different wallets in case of a hack, or who knows what might happen when it comes to crypto. I like having as many wallets as possible. I don't want to have just one place for all my crypto. I think you could probably relate to that.
Right. I mean, as people might diversify their portfolios, once you start to accumulate a lot of crypto, you want to diversify your crypto allocation and locations as well. I can't be an advocate of putting it on a centralized exchange, not your keys, not your coins. But the reality is that a lot of people don't actually want to take those responsibilities. People are used to living in a world where, you lose your password, you call up your bank, and then, they give it back to you. Right. So that's where things like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust come in. But you're also seeing some people have some in cold storage, maybe some on the exchange, maybe some that's, getting some percentage APY over on something like BlockFi. I think they do that, which that's up to the individual. That's just a way of protecting your funds, right? And I do think that we are seeing shifts right now, and it's really difficult. One of the things I wanted to talk about too is if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, right? The Bitcoin dominance had a sharp pump, and then it had a bit of a pullback. Mm-hmm. So you also notice that, everybody pretends like these guys, like they're only in Bitcoin, and then they're only looking at Ethereum. Yeah. Well, okay, maybe like from the institutional level, but a lot of these guys have personal accounts. They definitely have Binance accounts. They're certainly buying in their private funds. And let me tell you something, they are allocating to altcoins. You can see it in the charts. You can see it in the percentage. I mean, the amount of interest in just things like Cardano, recently even, you're seeing this. So I also think that has something to do with it. I think that some of it is also allocation to altcoins as well. I mean, it's up to you if you wanted to pull up charts or not. We could do that. We could not do that. But I mean, I can show you right now, the dominance level is at a very critical point for Bitcoin.
If you want to show us that, let me give you permission where you can share that screen.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that real quick. All right, so look right here, and this is just to sort of calm everybody's mind right now. So everybody that thinks that the top is in, it's over. First of all, I just want to point out, this is the 21 exponential, this green line. This is one of the most important lines. It's held us through the 2017 bull and this bull so far. And you could see that, occasionally we dance below it, but we've had nice, bounces off of it. So not only are we sitting above the 21 exponential, we're sitting above the 50, we're sitting above the 100, we're sitting above the 200. Every single thing is pointing literally to a higher high and a higher low. This is the trend. The trend is your friend until the end. There's absolutely no reason to become bearish until we start falling, out of some of these lower levels right here. And you can see all we're doing, guys, is okay, maybe this FUD, maybe there was some panic selling. And, what happens is an article comes out. Then somebody freaks out about whale selling. Then somebody actually sells. And because they start selling, they start triggering
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And then it's like an avalanche, right? It's like a bird that lands on a branch, drops a little bit of snow. Next thing you know, people are getting killed at the bottom by giants, right? So that's essentially what we're seeing right here. And this is just simply a accumulation pattern. Look at this. We're moving sideways. We're winding up tighter and tighter, and we're looking for a breakout move to the upside. So that is essentially what we're looking at. Now, if anybody was worried about falling any lower, I know there's those doom and gloomers out there. I'll show you exactly the levels. This blue box territory right here, okay, you can see this is where we had a lot of smaller accumulation. You can see by the VPVR right here where it juts out. And then worst case, you have the whale cluster right here, which I can show you guys.
47K. We talked about 47K being a huge level of support on the channel.
Right. And the reason for that is because of these whale maps. Okay.
Yep.
This is where the institutions are buying right here. Check out whale maps if you guys haven't seen them. And you can see this is insane amounts of demand. These are not guys that are looking to come in for a 5%, 10% flip. These are guys that are coming in for the long haul. The Michael Saylors, we're holding this for 5 to 10 years. We're putting this on the balance sheet, right? And not only that, but you've also seen massive accumulations around the $55,000 level as well. And let me show you something too that's a little bit mind-blowing right here. But if we actually just take from the previous peak in June of 2019, you can see that all we're doing is retesting previous resistances and flipping them support. But people freak out. You can see we had our first 30% drawback here. So basically, essentially what we're doing is really just turning previous resistance support. And I know that these drops can be scary, but as you can see with this 30%, all we did was we had, a resistance down here. We pumped up to a new high. We came back to confirm, retested it, and bounced up higher. And look what happened when we fell again, exactly to the same level. And the same thing is just going to keep happening again and again and again. And for those of you that don't really understand the significance of something like the Puell multiple, this is really what you want to look at. You want to look at Bitcoin miners versus their revenue. And you can see that whenever we tend to get within this band, that's when the markets are overheated. That's when we should kind of worry about it. And we're not even there. Yes, you might argue that we're getting close to that level, but we haven't hit that level yet. And until I start seeing something, like this showing up, then I have no reason for me to essentially be bearish. So I mean, as far as I know, the trend is your friend, and it's looking great on my end, guys. Looking great on my end. I don't know what people are freaking out about. So
what you take from this video is Bitcoin is bullish. That's it. You'll watch this video all the way through and you say at the end, wow, we're still bullish. Everybody believes it. You get these people that are, people try to overanalyze too often, and they try to figure out like why it's doing something different right now, when in reality it's just doing the same thing. And that's been the strength of, simple channels like yours and mine, where we just tell you what's happening and we don't, go back on what we think every other day.
It's funny because it's like when the price is pumping, it's like, yes, it's demand and it's the future. But when it's dumping, it's like, it's manipulation. And it's like, guys, no, this is just the ebb and flow of a market. This is how it works. You have your pumps, you have your dumps, you have your retests. Like I said, the trend is your friend. We're going up, man. So hope you got your moon boots, because this ride is not over yet. So
I love it. Let's get on the rocket. Well, K-Dub, as always, thank you for joining us on the channel. And for everybody else, make sure to go subscribe to his channel, Crypto Zombie. We've been friends for a long time. Love seeing him do well. So make sure let's give him some new subscribers so you guys can see this great content he provides you guys every day. And guys, drop us down below in the comments. Let us know what other people in the crypto space you want to see us to collaborate with. Kyle, you got anything else you want to leave us with?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. And also, like I was showing you guys earlier, I'm not 100% confident that this move is over. There could still be some, accumulation in this period. But as long as you're not over leveraged, dollar cost average is your friend. And like I said, the trend is your friend until the end. And I'm just going to leave it there. So
absolutely.
There we go.
All right, guys, drop your comments down below. That's all I got. Be blessed. Good boy out.